The Packers could use some pick-me-up as the energy was lacking Sunday against the Colts. Will they be able to go 7-1 down the stretch and party like it's 2009? It all starts on the road against the Titans, and we break it all down next on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Hey, Packers fans, this is your unofficial Packers Fan Podcast, and these are the podcasters you're looking for. One of these guys was once a club DJ in a country saloon, and the other guy gave up his seats on the 20-yard line so 12,000 more fans could enjoy the game live. And now it's time to Go Pack Go with your hosts, Wayne Henderson and Troy Heinrichs.
And this is your Packers Fan Podcast, the show by and for fans of the 13-time NFL champion Green Bay Packers. We've got a voicemail feedback line that's open for you 24/7. Give us a call at 920-3PACK-GO. That's 920-3PACK-GO. Or simply visit PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback. Leave your feedback and be part of the show. This is episode 118 of your Packers Fan Podcast. It's November 9th, 2016, and we'll have all the intel and analysis that we talk about tonight at PackersFanPodcast.com/118.
On this episode, we'll be going over what we liked and didn't like from our shocking loss to the Colts. We'll also talk about some confusion and discontent that may be happening around Packers Nation, especially as it relates to squirrels. And we'll share some sounds from Lambeau Field as well, because I was at the game.
That's what I've heard, and I can't wait to hear some of the details. You've been keeping them under wraps until tonight. And later on, I'll share my favorite highlights from the Packers official dope sheet for the game in Tennessee. Troy will have the keys to the Packers beating the Titans, and we will both have our wild guesses of the final score. We may get one right one of these days. Who knows? Me, I'm at Wayne Henderson, your voice acting, podcasting, confused and concerned part owner of the Packers.
And I am at Troy Heinrichs on my mission to remove all people with fishnets to save the squirrel population out there.
Wow. You know, you're doing your part. That's all we can ask. That's all we can ask. The Packers Fan Podcast is also available on demand and on the go with our free Packers Fan Podcast app. You can get it for Android or iOS, and the app is presented by theticketking.com. Remember, you are not sold out until the king is sold out. Get Packers tickets at the best prices by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for all those details.
Now, before we get into the game action and recap from this past Sunday, just want to say that normally what happens is that I get the second home game of the year. The gold package in Milwaukee is the second game and the fifth game plus a preseason game. And I typically go to the second game of the year, and my grandfather goes to the fifth game of the year. The reason why this was awesome this year was that we decided to move Grandpa's game to the second game, which then he took me with him, and I got to go to the fifth game for the first time in a long time. And what's great about that is that on the even home games, they introduced the defense. And on the odd home games, they introduced the offense. So I haven't got to be at Lambeau Field when the offense was introduced, and this was quite fun. So I decided to actually record what it sounds like when you hear the Green Bay Packers be introduced before the game at Lambeau Field, and we're going to play it for you here on the podcast so you all can experience it as well.
That sounds amazing, Troy. Thanks for recording that and sharing that on the show. I had no idea that they did that odd even switch up. I just thought it was pure happenstance in whatever kind of mood they were in.
I think it all depends on if they're wearing white pants or green pants. No, I'm just kidding.
Where the phase of the moon is and if there's a squirrel or some other varmint. Good stuff. I'm glad you finally got to hear that side of it get introduced.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. Really good time. And I love the addition they have with fireworks around the ring now that it's completely all closed in. They have a really great fireworks stuff that they do for the introductions in the Star Spangled Banner, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But first, highlights from this week. Ty Montgomery. If he had a sickle cell thing going on, I sure didn't see it when he was out on the field because he had over 7 yards per carry on the ground. That is when they decided to run the football on Sunday. And if you actually take away Ty Montgomery's long scramble, Wayne, he still averages over 4 yards a carry.
Wow.
So I would really love to see them just actually do Ty Montgomery full load workhorse, like old school running back style. You know, those guys like Barry Sanders when they ran the whole game and only like swapped out when they had to pass. It would be great just to see what he could do for an entire 4 quarters.
Yeah, because I haven't heard any rumblings whether or not he's up for it, either physically in regards to the sickle cell or even emotionally, going from being a wide receiver to an all down running back. But something's got to happen. I definitely want to see if they would be willing to give it a shot.
Yeah, because there's some rumblings that other running backs might be coming through Green Bay this week. So it'll be interesting to see if they work those guys out and they actually make the team or what's going to happen. But at this point, I don't see why Ty Montgomery can't be a full-time running back, at least for a little bit of the stretch, because every time he's performed. And I think you have to stay with that if that's working.
Oh, absolutely. Go with what works, because this is like, what, the 3rd or 4th game almost in a row where we've started out doing a lot of runs, things are looking good, and then all of a sudden, no more runs to speak of.
Even Rodgers, if you look at his running over the course of this game, you take away the big scramble he had, and even Rodgers had over 4 yards rushing. This is one of the worst rushing teams in the league, and for some reason, we decided that we were going to throw the ball all afternoon. I don't understand what's going on.
Either do a lot of other people, Troy.
Mm-hmm. You know who else did a lot of rushing in the course of this game?
Do tell.
The Lambeau Squirrel. Yes, that's right. 12 rushes, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Squirrel was the MVP of the game.
Amazing.
His performance was so good, in fact, that the Browns actually signed the Lambeau Squirrel to a 7-year, $100 million deal.
Nice.
And Roger Goodell fined the Lambeau Squirrel for excessive end zone celebration.
That figures.
You could actually follow all of these fun little things at Lambeau Squirrel on Twitter. Yes, there is a Twitter account for Lambeau Squirrel, and it's hysterical.
It definitely is. And because it's already blown up so far, there's already at least one other imitation Lambeau Squirrel Twitter account. So make sure you go to just at Lambeau Squirrel. And I'm wondering if you know anything, whether or not this squirrel at Lambeau is in any way related to the squirrel that ran onto the field. I believe it was in Minnesota a year or two ago.
No, because those would be like gray squirrels, and these are like true brown, regular, everyday squirrels.
See, I don't know my my varmin.
Nothing in Green Bay would ever be related to anything in Minnesota country.
See, that's the hard-hitting news that I've come to expect from you, Troy. Thank you very much.
But more importantly, the poor little Lambeau Squirrel is going to be very lonely as the team goes on the road for the next 3 weeks. So hopefully we left over some nice goodies, a lot of peanuts that weren't eaten. So hopefully that'll hold him over for 3 weeks until we come back.
So basically he's got some sort of rider in his contract that he doesn't travel with the team. He just gets to stay only for the home games at Lambeau.
If you would contain yourself to an aeroplane, that fishnet guy might actually get you. So you got to keep yourself wide open spaces.
Oh, okay. And that's why he is called Lambeau Squirrel, not Packers Squirrel.
Exactly right.
Okay. It's all clear to me now, Troy. I'm ready to rock. And although I don't have specifics, I've just heard a lot of rumblings from folks that both Clinton Dix and Jake Ryan both did at least a few good things in this game against the Colts, while we're still talking about quote unquote highlights.
Yeah, when we saw people actually come up for the blitz, I mean, we saw actually come into the box quite a few more times than he has throughout the course of the season. And then you have, of course, the fantastic interceptions that the defense put up. I think if you look at how this game broke down, I wouldn't say it was a stellar outing for the defense. They did get some run plays off against that Magnificent Seven on the front side. But at the end of the day, I think the defense played fairly well for what they needed to do, especially given, again, that depleted secondary. There's not much you can do back there unless you go trade for somebody or bring in a number one. And then with Micah Hyde going down during the course of the game as well, that really made things a little bit more dire in the backfield there. The issue is that they had 2 takeaways, and out of those 2 takeaways, we don't get any touchdowns off of that. So most of the fault lands, again, on the offense for this loss. And I think that's just something that we're going to be having to deal with until they can figure out how to make that Atlanta game replicate every single week.
Unbelievable. You have to make them pay when you get turnovers.
Absolutely. The O-line, I think I tweeted out right as the game started, the O-line just looked very porous. And I don't know if that's because Corey Linsley's back in there now. He obviously, you heard him in the introduction, so he's off the PUP list. So I don't know if that switch up of that gelling of that front seven kind of led to some things, because the pocket was awful soft in that first quarter. Rodgers was running for his life, and maybe that's what got him a little bit more pass happy, not willing to stick with the run because the O-line wasn't really holding up on their blocks for this first quarter. And they did pick it up a little bit, kind of sealed it up a little bit towards the third quarter. Obviously, we got the 2 touchdowns in garbage time to make it look like a comeback, but it really was garbage time. Technically, we left the game before the 2 touchdowns at the end.
You and Aaron and your father-in-law?
Don't tell anybody.
Oh,
but we left the game.
See,
it was awful. There was no way we were going to come back and win this one.
Yeah, the garbage time touchdowns, it's quite obvious to anybody that knows football that they're garbage time, and it's not that close of a game. The O-line was doing so well for the first part of the season. I don't know why this sudden drop-off. Maybe it's just an aberration, and we're going to get back to protecting Aaron Rodgers and giving him all day when we're in Tennessee.
I don't want to say that it's a thing to do is to protect Aaron Rodgers all day, because when they were protecting, Rodgers again had literally all day. I mean, we're talking 7-8 seconds before he threw the football. We need to set up a scheme, and I said scheme, where you have to rhythmically move down the field, the quick short slant passes, the back shoulder throws, everything that we were known for doing in that 6-0 start to the season last year. All of that is the same personnel, the same people. There's no reason we can't get that offense rolling again, and we have to stick with it. And I think that's the challenge, is that we're not sticking with the game plan. We're changing on the fly way too much, and that goes to the coaching. I mean, granted, the players, I said it in the stands before McCarthy even said it at the end of the game, that the speed just wasn't out there. They looked sluggish when they were coming after the runners. If they were coming after a screenplay, they just looked slow to close on most of the plays during the course of the afternoon. And beside myself in the stands, I mean, a lot of us were in section 122. We just could not believe how slow we looked out on the field. Like we ate 10 pounds of ice cream before the game.
And although that sounds delicious, I don't think that would be good for football play. And yeah, there was something off. Now, of course, the game, for whatever reason, was not shown in my area this week, so I had to watch it, the condensed version on the NFL Game Pass. And, of course, the way they edit the condensed game, it always looks like things are moving along at a pretty high clip. But, the more you look into it, sluggish, that kind of sums up the entire game. And do you think that because of all the, changing the scheme on the fly, is that what might be adding to the mental penalties because nobody's focused?
It's got to be, because we had penalties, people lined up in the neutral zone. There was a few false starts. We burned another third quarter timeout. You know how I hate those things.
I hate those too. Stop it.
And especially if you have a chance to come back, you need all 3 timeouts at the end of the game. And so it just wasn't where it needed to be this week. Rodgers' decision making, I don't know what's up with it. 2 games this year I've seen live. 2 games I've seen the exact same thing. There are people downfield that are wide open, and Rodgers just doesn't see them at all. And then when we have the best one was when we're down like, I think by 10 or 12 at that point during the game in the third quarter. We have a 3rd and 6. And then Jordy goes on a corner post route, double coverage, and Rodgers tries to heave the ball down the field. We need 6 yards. Just fake it to the long ball and then run for the 6 yards. Get the first down, keep the chains moving, dink and dunk. I think that's what this team needs to do. We're so worried about, we didn't have any big plays over 20 yards last year. We need to be focusing on the dink and dunk, move it methodically, 5 yards at a time, and just score points. And we're just not doing that. And that's what we did with Atlanta, and that's why we were in the game with Atlanta.
And you bring up a good point, Troy, based on where you're sitting in the stands, section
122 on the 45-yard line.
Great seats. You get to see more than what television is showing us. So you can see anybody that's wide open down the field or wide open 10 yards out. You can see it all at once. And I know from that angle, it'd be hard to throw a pass, but you can tell what's going on.
And you could see that a lot of people are complaining about, he's grabbing me. He's doing this. There are times also where the Packers receivers are not getting separation at all. And on a scramble drills, when Rodgers rolls out, the receivers are supposed to come back to Rodgers, and they're still running across the field or down the field. They're not coming back to Rodgers to get the ball. And you minute you make that button hook to come back, Rodgers has a split-second opening to fire the ball at you to get some yardage. That's what we were doing when he was on the run last year, and that's not what we're doing this year. And it's just causing a lot of strain and a lot of struggles.
Unbelievable. Now, I had heard that Joique Bell, actually, when you talked about running backs, wouldn't he be a good fit if he was signed with the Packers? But I heard that he left Green Bay without a contract today.
Yeah, they were in doing some workouts, and the Packers, again, will bring anybody in that they can bring in, right? Because bringing him in doesn't hurt anything until they sign a contract.
Right,
work them out, drive. See how they're. Yeah, exactly. And I think you have to do that. You have to be looking, because I mentioned it in the opening. 2009, the Packers were 4-4. That's where we're sitting right now. And in 2009, we came back to go 7-1. Losing that game against the Cardinals right at the end of the season, I believe it was, and then had to play the Cardinals back to back. So to deal with that, I think that mentality is there. This team can overcome. The pieces are there. They just can't put it all together. And I don't know why they can't put it all together every single week. Maybe this was the wake-up call. Maybe this was the Colts were supposed to be easy and we overlooked them. And because we overlooked them, we got beat, kind of like the 15-1 season when they overlooked Kansas City. So I think that this is a wake-up call. I hope we can go 7-1, because we'd still finish 11-5 like I predicted after my re-prediction, not my original prediction.
Revised, new and improved prediction.
But that'll get us right there, right at the top of the NFC North, and that'll be nice.
Where we belong. Yeah, because if we don't get somebody else like Joique Bell or another running back, if we don't get healthy people back, I worry that we're going to just keep abandoning the running game every week.
And we don't have to.
No.
I mean, Ty Montgomery ran. He was a fullback in high school. He's played the running back position. Let's use him. Let's draw up a scheme plan that has it. Now, I was impressed that we actually brought back the tight ends this week. I mean, we saw a lot of activity for Richard Rodgers. We saw Justin Perillo was out on the field catching a few balls. I think that's fantastic that we're able to get the tight end packages back in there. And if we can leverage the tight ends a little bit more, you can do things like a screen pass to Montgomery. I think that would be something that would be interesting to see. If we could just, again, dink and dunk 5 yards at a time, let them do the run after the catch. That was what we were known for, right? We hit the slant pass to Cobb, and then Cobb would get another 10 yards. All our yards were RAC. We need to get more RAC, and it's just not happening right now.
Next week.
Shall we? We should dig in, right? Twitter poll?
The Twitter poll. I was wondering, as far as the Packers Fan Podcast listeners that follow us on Twitter, @PackersFanPod, who do you think was the Packers MVP of the Colts-Packers game? 7% of the respondents said Ty Montgomery. I thought that was going to be a lot higher. 3% of the voters picked Jake Ryan as the MVP of the game. 43% said, Clinton Dix was the MVP of the Colts-Packers game. But in a surprise rout, 47% of the voters selected Lambeau Squirrel as the Packers MVP of the game. I just don't know.
I couldn't tell if Rodgers in his post-game press conference was upset that the fans were cheering more for the squirrel than they were for the team, or if he was just disgusted with his own play and the team's play. to say, yeah, we shouldn't, we're a laughing stock because they're cheering for the squirrel more than they're cheering for us.
Sometimes you just need anything to get a spark going in the stadium. Anything.
Yep. And that spark might be just the squirrel that needed it.
And if we get somebody signed on defense whose nickname is Moose, we'll have Moose and Squirrel back together again. Those will be good times, Troy.
There you go. And Boris can be the holder.
Nice.
Oh, man. Lambeau Squirrel, 47%.
Unbelievable.
That means technically speaking, Montgomery Ryan and the rest of the Packers with Clinton Dix won the electoral vote with 53%, but Lambeau Squirrel still won the popular vote.
But we just thank everybody for voting in our poll. There's been a lot of voting going on lately. And, sometimes you just got to have some fun because, like you touched on earlier, injuries. Do we even have a defense?
No, we don't. We have a front seven. Excuse me.
Bless you.
We have a front seven, but that secondary is just so porous. And Micah Hyde went down. A little bit of a shoulder injury, so we don't know what his status is going to be. Listed as questionable. Clay Matthews, he wasn't in the game at all on Sunday, still nursing a hamstring. James Starks started practicing again, so that's a good sign. We know James Starks is always good down the stretch and in the playoffs, so if he can get healthy, that would be a huge lift to the running back situation. And then you have Dimitri Goodson with a concussion. Likely he won't play. Quentin Rollins has a groin. He may play, so we'll have to see how that goes because we really need Quentin out there to get that secondary slided up. Demarius still out with the groin. Lots of people again in that secondary. We just need to get the secondary healthy. That's our Achilles heel right now.
I'll put that on the to-do list. And Jared Cook still week to week with his ankle. How long can it possibly take for an ankle to get better for a tight end?
A long time. You twist that ankle the wrong way, man. You could be on crutches for a while. You could be in a boot cast for a while. Ankles, they support the whole leg, man. Step on that wrong, and you're all done.
I still want to see him become the playmaker going down the stretch. But health, number one. So we'll just keep hoping that he gets better sooner than later.
Sooner can't come fast enough, especially when you're the Packers, because the best thing about being a Packers fan is that you can also support us just like you buy stock in the team by becoming a Packers Fan Podcast Patreon supporter. It actually helps us grow the show to bring you more great content each week, but you get cool rewards too. For example, if you look on our Packers Fan Facebook page, you can actually see my seats where I recorded the University of Wisconsin Marching Band doing their opening performance. Those are the seats that you could be sitting in if you subscribe and sponsor us at the $92 Reggie White level. So just go ahead and check out that video. Think about it. I know it's a little bit pricey, but it's for a good cause. You guys listen every week. Again, the $92 Reggie White level, go to a game with me or just throw us a beer a month, $5. That's all we're asking for, and that'll help us support the show and keep things going into 2018.
That would be fantastic. And to get things jump-started in that respect, since our last episode, we have a brand new Patreon supporter receiving a monthly pledge from, if I pronounce this correctly, Saber Aid.
Sounds good to me.
And we thank you for your support of the Packers Fan Podcast. Saber Aid, you rock.
110%. Thanks so much. And just like that, it's super easy. Throw $1 our way, even if you can't afford the $5 a month, $1 a month. Heck, get all of you to do $1 a month, and we can do some amazing things here for the podcast. With that, let's get into some listener feedback. And we had a new voice come in, a voicemail from Monica, I do believe.
Hey guys, this is Monica, long-time listener, first-time caller. That game last Sunday, boy, was really hard to watch. This team is very inconsistent, and I really hope they get it together and we can make it to the playoffs. It's going to be hard, but I think they can do it. Anyway, keep the good work, and bye.
Monica, thank you so very much for your feedback. We love international feedback. That is great stuff. And I think the word you used to describe the Packers game, especially this past week, inconsistent, that sums it up the best.
It sums it up, I think, better than anything else I could think of than actually being there on Sunday, because it looked like we were getting things going, and then the whole drive would stop dead in its tracks. and converting on third down again is a big issue. So whatever we need to do to fix the consistent nature of our offense, again, timing patterns, quick releases, get the running game going. Those are really, really the things that'll make this offense turn around. Get back to the basics. Play with a high tempo. Get the hurry up offense going. The one that baffled me, this is the best thing that completely, like, I was shocked. We're playing at home and we win the toss and we defer.
At home?
At home, we defer. And what's the first thing that happens after we defer? They return the ball for the touchdown. And I'm just smacking my head. It's like, we are the home team. You take the ball when you're at home, you go down and you score, and you go up 7-0 right away, first 5 minutes. That's what you need to do every single week. So if we win the toss against the Titans, take the ball and score. Be Matt Hasselbeck. Just don't throw the interception part.
Well, as long as whoever gets the ball throws it to a Packer for a score, we'll be good. And like Monica touched on, playoffs. The playoffs are still very much in play. I saw some people saying after the game, well, this season's a wash. We definitely aren't going to the playoffs now. We're just a couple games back.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're not going to the playoffs, because we've seen the team do well. We can play well when we stick to the plan and execute the plan and keep our mind focused on the game. The pieces, again, are all there. And we went 7-1 back in 2009. So this is not far from over by any stretch of the imagination. No. Yes, we're in third place. Yes, right now we're not in the playoffs if the season were to end today. But we could correct that, and we're only one game back in the division with a lot of division games to play.
Yeah, the season is, about half over, and mathematically, I think even the 49ers, mathematically, if the right things happened, could still make the playoffs.
Mathematically, the Bears could still make the playoffs.
Exactly. So the Packers' hopes and dreams are very much alive, especially with the last 2 games of the year being against the Lions and the Vikings, division rivals. Hang in there, Packers fans. It's going to happen. Love it. We also got a brand new iTunes review this week. It was titled Go Pack Go, and it's from Big Brother B in the USA, who says, this should be listened to every week. And that's Chris from the More Gooder Than podcast. So, Chris, thank you so much for that review and stating that the Packers Fan Podcast should be listened to every week. Thank you so very much.
Yes, you can leave your iTunes review as well if you're enjoying the show by going to PackersFanPodcast.com/iTunes. Drop it in there, 5-star review. Give us a written note. Tell us that you love the show. Tell us that you love Monica calling in. Tell us that you love Big Brother B for telling everybody that this should be listened to every week. Just let people know you're listening. It'd be great, and then it helps other people find the show as well. Because, again, it's for fans, by fans. We're not analysts. We're not experts. We just love the Green Bay Packers. And with that, because we love the Green Bay Packers, and because they're doing such cool things up there at Lambeau Field, and I was there, I had to share the UW-Wisconsin Marching Band, probably one of the best bands in the entire country. Every kid from Wisconsin, if they play band, dream of potentially making the band at some point in time. So whenever you get to see them participate at any event, whether it's at Camp Randall or up at Lambeau Field, you got to watch it. And this game was fantastic because they played the Star Spangled Banner, Salute to Veterans. It was a fantastic experience. I recorded it. We're going to go ahead and play the UW-Wisconsin Marching Band for you in the Star Spangled Banner. So make sure you take off your hats and give thanks for the country that we are in here this Veterans Weekend season.
Our national anthem.
sounds so dang good, Troy. Did you have any special recording equipment to get it to come out that clear?
I did. I had this high-powered microphone inside this really, really tiny device that fits in the palm of my hand. That's called an iPhone. It's fantastic.
Very cool. You got the brand new one, the iPhone 7, right?
I did have the iPhone 7, so I hope the pickup in it's probably a little bit better than some of the older models. But yeah, straight off my iPhone 7, no special equipment. Just held it up there in the air and pointed it in the right direction.
That's the secret. More people need to follow that tip. Point your mic in the right direction. All will be well. Thanks for that, Troy. Now, NFC North notes the Vikings technically still in first place at 5-3, but their season looks like it is sailing. No more singing on the podcast. They're going down. The Lions are 5-4. How on earth did the Detroit Lions pass up the Green Bay Packers?
They played one hell of a game and stuck it to the Vikings. That last touchdown was amazing. I thought he wasn't going to get in because he did that cool flippy thing before he actually got in the end zone. I'm like, what are you doing? Score first and then celebrate.
But it all worked out. So we had to have a little help from the Lions, but now we need help from ourselves. Packers are 4-4, very much alive in the playoff hunt, but not in it at this exact minute. And the Bears, they're 2-6. Haven't seen them in a while. They must be on their bye week, but we'll see what's going on with those guys.
Here's the sad thing. The sad reality is that we have to play the Bears again. If we drop one more game and they start to win and get on a hot streak like they have been, especially because taking care of the Vikings for us,
no,
they could beat us and then we could be at the bottom of the division.
That is not going to happen.
It's not, because we're going to Tennessee. Woo woo. It is week 10, game number 9. It's going to be 66 degrees, sunny and clear, no humidity to speak of, and we are going to win. But first, we have to prevent former Wisconsin Badger Melvin Gordon, who is amazing because he destroyed the Tennessee Titans last week from San Diego. He just literally made the Tennessee defensive line look like Swiss cheese with the amount of runs that he put up. So, again, if Tennessee's got that porous of a running line, there is no reason why the Packers should be abandoning the run because they don't have a running back. Run Ripkowski. Ripkowski was a fantastic runner. Running game should be the number one focus this week. Get the run going, keep the defense on the field and tire them out, control the clock. That is key number 1. 2, you got to disrupt Mariota. He fumbled once. He threw 2 interceptions last week against the Chargers, but he also ran a 2-minute drill that I saw that was as smooth as butter can be. Nice. So he has the ability to focus and get the job done. And I think this is going to be a little bit more towards the shootout angle because of the way Mariota's been playing. So the thing that was really lacking against Luck last week was the pass rush. So if we can get a pass rush going, maybe stack 8 or so in the box, we should be able to disrupt Mariota enough that we could actually, again, get those interceptions, but convert them into points. That's really the key there. 3 is DeMarco Murray. I know he's been playing well because I have him on my fantasy team. So I would really like to play my other running back this week. So Packers defense, make sure you stop him so I don't make a bad choice by playing the other guy. But yeah, Ryan and Martinez are going to have to keep their eyes on DeMarco Murray because if we stack the box, you do have that issue of once we hit the blitz, if DeMarco Murray comes out behind the blitz into the flat, then he'll be able to get those short dump-off passes and make something happen with it. So containing DeMarco Murray is key number 3. Number 4, special teams. Shum has been doing a little bit better throughout the course of the season, but the coverage units, oh my gosh, they've just been abysmal. And this isn't just saying that because we let the touchdown go. The kick was in the wrong place. The lineup was in the wrong place. Special teams needs to come through, and this has to be a game of, I think, field position and yardage. If we can contain them back inside the 30 to start the drives, that gives us a better chance of maybe working with the field, getting a potential interception, and then making sure that we put ourselves in less than 50 yards to go for a touchdown. Because then if we can't make it work on offense, at least we only need to pick up 20 for the field goal.
Okay.
And then rhythm football. I think that is the absolute number 1 key to the game. We need to make sure that we win the coin toss, we take the ball, we score, and we do it methodically, planfully, in rhythm, hurry up offense, take control of the game, set the tempo from the get-go, and I think that'll play to the Packers' favor this week.
And let's have it be a nice, fast, like 4/4 tempo, not like waltz time, 3/4 time, or anything like that.
Yeah.
Fast tempo. Think Metallica.
Think like 6/8.
Ooh,
6/8
yeah.
time. Triple it.
Fast. Hustle. That's what we need. Now, of course, I always like to pick out a few of my favorite things from the official Green Bay Packers dope sheet. They put it out every week. It's a beautiful document, digital or printed, and we will have the entire dope sheet linked in our show notes, PackersFanPodcast.com/118. And this past week, the headline, the 4-4 Green Bay Packers begin a 3-game road trip with a visit to Nashville, Tennessee to play the 4-5 Titans Sunday, November 13th at Nissan Stadium at 12 noon Central Time. And what's interesting is the Tennessee Titans play at Nissan Stadium, and Nissan sells a pickup truck model that's called the Titan. Coincidence? Don't know how that plays into the game plan, but that stuck out to me. Green Bay is playing 3 road games in a row for the first time since 2012, and only the third time in the last 19 seasons. And that other time we played 3 games on the road was way back in 1998. So thankfully, that does not happen very often. And this Sunday will be Green Bay's 3rd regular season visit to Tennessee. The 2 previous regular season matchups at the Titans were decided by 6 and 3 points. Troy, does that sound too close to call?
Absolutely it does, since 3 points is where I'm landing this week.
Oh, man, you're right in line with history then. And unbelievably, Troy, our Packers trail in the overall series with the Titans 5-6, but we won the last meeting 55-7 in 2012 at Lambeau Field, and Aaron Rodgers in that game recorded a 125.1 passer rating after completing 27 of 38 passes for 342 yards, 3 TDs, and 0 interceptions. I know it's not looking like that could happen again this week, but what if, Troy? What if? It would be.
What if?
It would be you're imagining it in your head right now, right?
I am imagining 342 yards and 3 touchdowns, because that's on my fantasy team too.
This is just going right according to plan. Go Pack, go. But remember that 3 of the Packers' 4 losses this season have been by a combined 9 points. So these close heart attack games, they're going to get to us if we're not careful. And after this game in Nashville, both of Green Bay's next 2 games are scheduled to be played in prime time. First, traveling to Washington for a matchup on Sunday night, and then to Philly for a Monday night contest. And these will be the last 2 of the 5 primetime games that were scheduled for Green Bay this season. But if we get our act together, start winning a lot more games, Troy, in December, could be some flexing going on and maybe another Sunday night football game coming our way.
Absolutely, especially when you talk about that Minnesota game,
yes,
or that Detroit game at the end of the season.
Or both of them. Just put the Packers on Sunday night football every week. And as far as notable connections, here is a fantastic one. Are you sitting down?
Yes.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay, you're ready. We all know that the Tennessee Titans used to be the Houston Oilers, and Packers executive VP, general manager, and director of football operations himself, Ted Thompson, played linebacker for the Houston Oilers from 75 through 84, and he appeared in 146 of the 147 games. He only missed 1 game.
Wow, like Iron Man.
I know, that is great stuff. I wasn't watching very much football during the 75 to 84 time period, but that is good to know that he was a linebacker. He knows his stuff. And Green Bay tight end Jared Cook was drafted in the 3rd round back in 2009, originally by Tennessee, and played his first 4 seasons with the Titans. Read through the entire official Packers dope sheet at the Packers Fan Podcast website, PackersFanPodcast.com/118. Do we dare try to predict this game?
No, because we El Succo. I think the closest one was me picking the 1-point loss.
Yes. Thank goodness this is just for fun. And one of these days we're gonna get it spot on.
I've been going first. Maybe that's the issue. You go first this week, and we'll actually win.
If that's what it takes, I'll do it. For this game in Tennessee, I predict it's going to be way closer than even predicted. But the Packers will come out on top with a victory. Packers are going to win 22-21.
20. How do you get to 22?
I don't know. 6 field goals, 2-point a safety. Who knows? It'll happen.
That's 3 touchdowns and a crazy blocked extra point attempt, which you can run back for a point on your own, apparently.
That's what's going to happen.
According to the rules. I'm going to go with the Packers getting 30 points.
Ooh, I like it.
But the Titans will win the game. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, my goodness. Things were going so well.
Titans will win the pool because the line is only 2.5. I have Packers 30, Titans 28.
Oh, okay. Good. 2-point victory is a victory.
2-point victory is a victory in the stands, but not in your pocketbook. So take the Titans getting 2.5.
And since you asked me, I will return the favor and ask you, how are the Packers going to get to 30 points?
30 points is going to be 3 touchdowns and a field goal. No, 4 touchdowns. I don't remember.
There's got to be a 2-point conversion, or Mason Crosby, 10 field goals.
Well, yeah, touchdown and a field goal, touchdown and a field goal, touchdown and a field goal.
Boom.
There you go. That's 30.
That'll work. Just win, baby.
It's going to be an interesting weekend for sure because we need to play and we need to step it up and we need to win badly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, at 4-5, that's a different story because think about it this way. Granted, they're not in our division, but if the Titans would be actually in the NFC and we lost to them, then the Titans would have the tiebreaker because they would be ahead of us. So we have to start thinking about how this mathematical scenario start to play unless we take destiny into our own hands, which is what we need to focus on and do.
Exactly. Leave nothing to chance.
Yeah, nothing at all. We'll close it up for this week. The Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. However, we'd love for that to happen. Just let us give us a note. media@PackersFanPodcast.com. We'll get back to you. And don't forget to become one of the Packers Fan Podcast faithful by visiting PackersFanPodcast.com/support. See how you can help make the podcast even better and what rewards are waiting for you. Tell all of your Packers friends about the podcast. We want to make sure we have this fantastic community going strong to support the green and gold.
Because things are only getting better every single week for the team. And remember to listen to the show on the go with the free Packers Fan Podcast app for iOS and Android. It's presented, as we said before, by theticketking.com. Don't get sold out of your next Packers game. Visit PackersFanPodcast.com/tickets for the details on that. And all season long, follow us on Twitter @PackersFanPod, as well as our personal accounts. Me, I am @Wayne Henderson.
And me, I'm @Troy Heinrichs. Be sure to also like us on the Facebook as well. I got a nice video up there of the Wisconsin Marching Band, so make sure you check that out. That's over at PackersFanPodcast.com/ you guessed it, Facebook.
Excellent. And another / for you. Remember, PackersFanPodcast.com/feedback to get your thoughts in, let your voice be heard. Keep the conversations going online anywhere and everywhere that you can. We'll be back with another fun episode next week. We're going to be talking about a victory over the Titans, and I cannot wait. But in the meantime, great of you to listen to this episode of the Packers Fan Podcast.
Be sure to subscribe in iTunes and leave us a review and support the podcast. Now, everybody, make the Titans look like the Tinies because we're going to win this one. Let's hear you, everybody. Give it a shout. Go, Pack, go!